Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Robert Phoenix, and guess what? You're here for the Astro Weather. All right. What's happening, everybody? It is Tuesday, November 25th, and I always associate November 25th with Thanksgiving. I mean, that to me, that's usually the day that it falls on. So I don't know. It's just weird to have it on a Tuesday. I feel obligated to have turkey today, but I won't have crow. I won't have crow. I've been really getting into crows lately, and I've been watching a lot of crow videos on YouTube, and they're fucking fascinating. I have to admit, crows are a total trip. Um, it almost makes me want to go live in the country. I mean, I kind of live in the country, but not really. It kind of makes me want to go live in the country so I can like be one with the animals. I think that's my new goal. Move to the country, become one with the animals. And so I could walk and talk with the animals and have birds fly onto my arm and deer come up to me. I think that's my life goal. When you were a kid, who didn't want that as a kid? I mean, let's be honest. When you were a kid, didn't you want like supernatural contact with the animal realm? I did. I wanted to have all the animals as my friends, right? I think not everybody's like that, but I think a lot of us are like that. And maybe that'll be my next life goal. Dr. Doolittle or some shit like that. Anyway, how is everybody? It is snappy cold here. I have this new routine. I get up and I walk in the morning. And I start walking for everybody else gets up and walks because I don't want to be one of those people who sees the same people every day when they walk. Hey, how's it going? Hey, how are you? Good. Anyway, I got my walk out of the way. It was great. I got my morning vitamins in me, and I just love Sagittarius season because it is full of joie de vivre, the lust for life. Sagittarius is a lusty. Everything is big about Sagittarius. Right? It looked like there might be a peace deal or something going on with Ukraine. Oh, if they end the war, Trump is going to be insufferable. I mean, he's going to claim that he brought peace to the Middle East, which is not happening still. Okay, it's not happening. Ceasefire, what ceasefire? Right, but he'll claim that, and he'll claim that he ended the Ukraine war. He will be king of the fucking world. And look, at the end of the day, I hope that it does end because a lot of senseless lives have been lost. And it's like at the end of the day, you know, I mean, look, I've got some conspiratorial ideas about it. So I can make some claims as to why I think it happened. But at the end of the day, what has it really accomplished? Pushing back Russia? Keeping them from destroying Europe. Europe's doing a pretty good job of destroying itself. They don't need Russia, right? Europe's on the ropes, and the Russians aren't doing a damn thing to make them feel that pain. If anything, they gave them an energetic lifeline. Anyway, enough geopolitics. We're here for the season of joy and expansion. And you know, the one thing about Sagittarius that I think is part of the lesson of Sagittarius is forgiveness. Like Sagittarius is just so big, it doesn't really matter. Right? It's like, not a big deal, you know? hug it out. Life lesson. Life goes on. I mean, that's, to me, that is one of the beautiful things about Sagittarius. You know, when I think of a perfect movie role, because a lot of times I think of like actors' roles in movies and how their signs are just perfect for the role. It's Jeff Bridges in The Big Lebowski. And Jeff Bridges is a Sagittarius. And The Big Lebowski is kind of a Sagittarian dude. I mean, if you really think about it, right? He's kind of sloppy. Unless you're fucking with his rug, he's got a, what me worry, chill out kind of attitude, right? Like nothing's really too big of a deal for Jeff Lebowski until you fuck with his rug. And that's a whole other thing. But again, it's perfect. It's a perfect example of an actor whose sign merges right into the role. And Lebowski never met a good time he didn't like. I'll tell you another really interesting film that has I guess you'd call it the dipole of Gemini and Sagittarius. And that is Thunderbolt and Lightfoot with Jeff Bridges and Clint Eastwood. And they're opposite signs, right? And in this movie, they formed this really weird bond. And Clint Eastwood has played a number of movies where he's played a preacher, at least in 3 of his movies. And it starts off with him as a preacher in this church sort of in the middle of the farmland, middle America. And this guy is coming after him to take him out with a hit. Anyway, he winds up hooking up with Jeff Bridges, and they have this really unusual relationship. And even Jeff Bridges' character in that movie is very Sag-like. He's kind of wild, kind of all over the place. And Clint Eastwood's character is very strategic. And they developed a very weird bond in that movie. Anyway, if you want to get some of that, that's available. Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. It's actually one of my favorite movies. There's some weird homoeroticism in it that if you go beneath the surface, you'll see it. And you can go, ah. But anyway, enough about that. Let's go. Let's see. Who do we have here? I think you guys like my thumbnail. New Next got a lot of mileage out of it. Debisu's here. Who else? Julie Sunshine, 333. What's up, Julie? Josie's Jazzy Jack. Billy Nora's back. Checking in with us. Night Slate. Yeah, shout out to Jen, Blood Hair. It's her birthday today. We'll be hooking up with her on the reading side. Let's see. Who else we have here? Brian Scott. What's happening, Brian Scott? Barbara Boots, Double B. What's going on? What is that? HM Grant, 97. What's happening? Neil Smith, The Big Cheese. Aaron L, 4406. Why do we always have these numbers after our names now? It feels like THX 113038. Amy V.911. This is weird. Lena Winkler, .3347, reporting for duty. Let's see. The Crow Teapot is beautiful. Let's see. Bill Smith. What's going on, Bill? Good to see you. I feel like crows are more active in the fall. I think they probably are. I associate crows with scarecrows and pumpkin patches and shit like that. Janine is here. What's up, Janine? Good to see you. It's not all what you think of. Everything poops. Everything does poop. That's true. That is true. H.M. Grant. I set up a bird feeder and watch them. It's always exciting when a rare bird shows up. I know, it's pretty cool. We used to have cardinals over in Stonewall, and they would tap on the window. I always felt like it was pretty cool. I have a hawk that uses my tree for hunting the cornfields. I love hawks. I'm a big hawk person. I love hawks. Crow is my Libra sun totem animal. There are always crows all around my environment. Yeah, I got that. There's that little book there, September 22nd to October 22nd, the little crow book, which is the Libra time of year. I'm a ninth house, so you know I love Sagittarius. Yeah, me too. Big time. Jay Schaefer, crow is my totem. Good to see you, Jay. Hey, H.M. Grant, happy birthday to you. Celebration. Ratchet Booze here, Zarelith Eternal. There she is, birthday girl, right there. Can't wait for our 3 p.m. We got a reading set up. Looking forward to that. Liddy Lou, the great Liddy Lou, she's with us. Charlie, what's going on? Charlie, Lisa Ann White, the Law. Mark is here. What's going on, brother Mark? You love the blue glasses. Blue glasses were a Costco special, man. They are Costco special, you know. I'm glad I got them because Costco doesn't have them anymore. I pounced. My only regret is I didn't get another color. Green-eyed crow. Speaking of crows, we got to put green-eyed crow up there. Green-eyed crow 14. There you go. Loki balloon. I made a movie. If I made a movie, Jesus would be a plant. What kind of a plant? Would he be a rose of the desert, or would it be a plant like I don't know, like Eric Kirk's a plant, something like that? Thor at the door. What's going on? Bell KLO2. Janice Phillips. Now, Janice Phillips does not have a number after her name. That's kind of special, Janice. Catherine Rosen, 7859. These numbers are just weird. It's cold here too, Janine. It's important for it to get cold during certain seasons. Let's live in Florida. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Sedona Angels headed to Quartzsite for some crystal shopping. All right. Hope you find some great deals, Lena Winkler. Soul Traveler. We got a good house here from Europa. Maria de Ange. What's going on, Maria? Good to see you. Hawks. I love hawks. When I lived on the coast in California, it was my pastime was hawks. Pixie Bout Town. Hey, Pixie. Tinfoil Tiara. Still today, one of the greatest handles. And happy birthday, Solar Return. We got a Sag party. We got a Sag party going on here today. That is so cool. A plant that dies for you and much, much more. Mary Grether. Hey, Mary. Good to see you. All right. We're up to about 123 people. We got the blood pumping. It's been a good morning so far. Let's see what the stars have to tell us. We got a change in the moon. A change in the weather. Let's try to sound like Tim Curry from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Before we go there is something we have to talk about. There is something we have to talk about. And the thing that we have to talk about is our buddies over at SILVER-BOTANICALS. And they have a brand new deal. It is the Gift of the Magi bundle. If you haven't seen the interview with Dean and Ray, I highly recommend it for a number of reasons. Number one, let's remove that. We'll burn that. Number one, stop sharing that. It is a good interview. and you get some real sense as to who these guys are and the process around what goes into making this fusion of nanified silver and essential oils. I think it's a beautiful marriage. Anyway, we have the gift of the Magi bundle, and let me show you what you get with that. You get the gifts of the from the Magi room and body spray, and it has every single, well, all of the ingredients are biblical. So you carry around in a little spray bottle the contents of the Bible, of what it's supposed to be, the plants that grew in that region. Speaking of Jesus and plants, there you go. And also the nanified silver. And if, you know, the space around you is smelling a little funky, or if you just need some aromatic upliftment, the gift of the Magi room and body spray. That's number one. We got the total body skin therapy bath additive over here. It's good for about 2 baths, but they will be like anointing baths, right? These would be special baths. Maybe you take on a Sunday or something like that. Botanical Sea Skin Serum, which was a big hit in the last bundle. The Silver Mist Humidifier additive. So you can add that to your humidifier and your breathalyzer things. I always forget what they're called. Emulsifier. I forget what this one. I always the face sucker from Alien that you breathe in, right? That's what it is. You can add it to that as well. And so there's parts per, whatever for water with that listed on the bottle. The Silver Shield deodorant. This is a spray on this time. We also have the Silver Shield sanitizer, which is really good. And then the Silver Tongue oral care. So today, after I brushed my teeth, I rinsed with the Silver Tongue oral care. It's part of my daily routine. You can get all those for $79.94, and it makes a great gift bundle as well. You're saving $20, and guess what? You get the shipping free. You get the shipping free. And if you wanted to, you could set up the shipping address different than your credit card address. And you can have these shipped directly to whoever you want. That's a beautiful thing. They have that scalability on the website. So there you go. Take advantage of the gifts from the Magi bundle and get into Silver Botanicals, the exciting fusion of nanified silver and really high quality, high grade essential oils. All right. Let's get into the weather. Again, happy birthday. Happy solar return to all you Sages out there. So yes, we have a lunar change. We've got Moon Pluto conjunct. What are we obsessing about? Right? Like, okay, I think the moon in Aquarius is kooky. It's a kooky moon. Right? It is kooky. It's really outside. It is voyeuristic, not judgmental. Like the Aquarian moon is, I would say, not even oddly. It's just non-judgmental. The Aquarian moon likes to watch. However, today with the fusion of Pluto, as they join forces together, right? Make sure that your kid isn't spending half their time watching online porn. I mean, I'm sorry, but you get Moon Pluto together in Aquarius, that is kind of an online porn aspect. And I'm not telling you to run out and go watch some online porn, but there is something about Moon Aquarius Pluto conjunction, very kind of erotic in some ways, because there's this voyeuristic quality to it. And it's all about, the Pluto's always about the taboo. It reminds you of the Antonioni movie, Blow Up, with David Hemmings, who plays a photographer. So he's always taking pictures, and he's always sort of playing this role of the observer. And he winds up taking a picture of a couple in this park in London. And it looks like what he does is witness a murder. And he's going through the negatives and everything, and he's trying to sort it all out. And it's one of those things where I would say it's a perfect kind of Pluto moon metaphor, because you're watching something or you're recording something, and then the next thing you see is that you've inadvertently recorded something or captured something that sends you off on a tangent somewhere, right? Like, so this is a really specific day for something like that. So if you're out fucking around, you're using your cell phone as a camera, or you have cameras somewhere, or even if you're cruising around online, you might find something that is really, at first glance, trivial, although interesting, but with a deeper look, it will grab you and will compel you to go deeper. Today is one of those days where if you wanted to become obsessed about something in a positive way, I think today's a good day for that. I think it's a good day for that, because we also have this sextile going on with the moon and Neptune. It's by degree, right? And here with these sextiles, we get into the realm of imagination, and we get into the realm of visualization, and living in a kind of I would call it a rarefied environment, but an environment that's infused with to some degree symbolism, imagery, like things that come to mind are photos by Man Ray, the surrealist. Today's one of those days where if you are looking out of the corner of your eye, you'll notice things that are very unusual and can take you down a rabbit hole. So allow your attention to kind of be peripheral today. The other thing is that we have the sun coming in, and it's in sextile also with Pluto and the moon. And the sun in Sagittarius is very adventurous. So this opens our kind of, the realm of the senses to some extent, but senses even beyond senses, right? Like intuition, or, finding clues for things that don't make sense in the moment, but in the future fit together. This is a very unusual day for that, because we're starting off right out of the gate with the Moon-Pluto conjunction. And I think it's really interesting. Now, we've got Jupiter on the other side, and I think Jupiter can be a little distracting here in this position. There's something, how do I say this, uniquely selfish about this Moon-Pluto conjunction. And Jupiter on the other side is like tradition, family. I was at HEB yesterday, and it was a mob. Everybody's buying all their Thanksgiving shit. And that's a lot of Jupiter in opposition to Pluto moon. There's all these family obligations and schedules and things that you have to do. And, it's all holiday related, right? And it's not necessarily bad. But it can take you away from some very interesting observations and perceptions. And even some of those observations and perceptions, you may not get them immediately, but they'll reveal themselves, right? So sometimes people fuck around with their cell phones and just if you take random cell phone pictures today, like today's a day where things would show up in the frame of your cell phone. Like, what is this? How did this get here? What is it? Like weird anomalies. And I love anomalies, because it reminds us that we're not completely locked into the realm of our four senses, that there's something else going on. there's a scene behind the scene, right? And that scene is interpenetrating our scene. And there are scenes behind that scene and behind that scene and behind that scene. And they all interpenetrate to some degree. And we're, kind of at the most dense part of the bandwidth. But every now and then, these cracks in the world seep through. And today is one of those days, especially if you're not, it's not like you're looking for it directly, although your attention will bring it perhaps a bit closer to you. But again, this is more peripheral, and you have to have a bit of a sense of, I would say being open, right? Being open. And this is one of the things that I loved about the surrealists, although most of them were kind of sadomasochistic assholes, but they were really driven by these Freudian theories of the unconscious. So the surrealists did everything in their power to kind of avoid the literal world, whether it was through the choice of words or strange photography, or in the case of somebody like Jean Cocteau, a surrealist take on Alice in Wonderland, right? So they were operating, they were doing their best to separate themselves from the convention of traditional senses. And there is something about that today. And at the end of the day, you'll probably have at least one experience where you'll say, that was really fucking surreal. Like, what was that? What was that all about? We're coming into the holidays, I think, with a full head of steam. We got Mars and Sagittarius. People are bringing their appetites. And Mars is starting to move into that square with Saturn. So as we get into Thursday, Friday, when all the big eating happens, that Mars is going to get a little bit closer into the realm of conflict, if you know what I'm saying. It's 10 degrees out. So by the time it'll still be kind of wide, right? It's good that it's not closer. We're going to get closer with that Mars-Saturn square over the weekend. And I think people are just kind of grouchy and a little bit burnt, spent, maybe a little hung out to dry, right? Like the mood over the weekend, even though the sun's in Sag and it's still, really positive and up, it starts to grind a little bit. And I think people are probably going to be looking less forward to going back to work when Monday next week comes around. And again, it's a sprint to the holidays here, but there is that sense. And I would not be surprised if we get into a real cold snap next week and makes travel and getting to and from work a bit more difficult. And if you have the opportunity to work from home, I would highly, highly recommend it. Because at least you won't be in the office when you go through this Mars-Saturn square and people start pissing you off. And Mars is Sagittarius, you just want to tell them to go fuck themselves, right? We have a Mars-Juno conjunction, which I love. I think it's the insemination of new ideas in higher concepts, right? This is where, if I've been listening to, it's not really Napoleon Hill. It's kind of an AI version of Napoleon Hill, but the concepts are the same. It just started popping up on my feed. So I started listening to it. And there are some things in there that I think are really important, right? Really, really important. And it's a good reminder, especially during Sagittarius, is the most philosophical season, that we lift our vision up, right? We lift our vision up. We lift our vision above the periphery. We lift our vision metaphorically and literally to the sky, right? This is the beauty of Sagittarius. It's the 9th house. So this is what this month is all about, is to lift our vision, right? To live with a higher ideal or a higher order, right? For some people, it is devoting themselves to the love of God and the love of God completely. That would be a very Sagittarian ideal, by the way. There is no God other than God. And then that would take you to the top, right, of Jacob's ladder, rather. It would take you to the top of Jacob's ladder. Like that is the ultimate goal of Sag, to get you to the 9th house so that you're in the upper room and you're at one with the Father. But you need vision in order for that to happen, right? You have to have, and I know these two things are kind of oxymoronic, but you need a spiritual goal. Like, what is your spiritual goal? Why are you? And I even ask myself that. I'm listening to these recordings. I'm like, well, what am I doing? Why am I here? You know, every now and then we go through these moments in time, right? Like, why am I here? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I doing? And if I am, then am I doing it in a way that is beholden to some higher purpose or higher vision? And you know, I've been doing this now for 15 years, and it's evolved along the way, right? There have been certain stages, certain times where, you know, from 2020 to 2022, you know, the fight for COVID was front and center with everything, and it drove a lot of my life and a lot of the content. And it wasn't just the astrological stuff. It was other stuff that was going along with it, although the astrological story was a part of it. And the astrological story is a big part of still what we're doing, why I'm here, why you're here. It has become my stock of trade. It chose me. I didn't choose it. But then again, it's like, okay, well, where am I going with it? Right? Where am I going? What are my goals? What is my pole star now? And so I've been working on my website, and I know it sounds like it's been forever, but I actually accomplished something yesterday, which it's taken me months to get to. And it was creating a video for the website about me and what I do. And the guy that I'm working with sent me some examples of people that do something like that. And what he sent me examples of was something called a VSL, or a video sales letter. And I was kind of taken aback, because it's like, normally I just talk. This is who I am. This is what I do. This is what you can find on my website. And I did something different yesterday, which I normally don't do. I scripted this out, and I put together a combination of kind of a personal video and a VSL. And we'll see how it works. We'll see if it sort of, because I can always change the video. I can always swap that out. But it was a really good exercise for me to do that. And it's been good for me to sort of, again, redefine, like, why am I here? What am I doing? What are we doing? What are you doing? What are we doing together? And ultimately, what is the purpose and what is the goal? Right? So this has been a really good place of inquiry for me, instead of just, you know, and I could just run these shows out and do what I do, but you have to, if you're not evolving, then you're not doing something that is intrinsic to the soul, because that's who we are. We evolve. And again, with Mercury retrograde, these are questions that I think should be asked. You know, we've got this in conjunct with Chiron, and you can come up and say to yourself, well, I'm not really good at that, or, you know, I don't feel strong enough in this area. And it's like, I'm not sure Mercury retrograde will put up with that, especially with the conjunction with Venus, because you have to look at your relationship with your ideas, your thoughts, what you're feeding your subconscious, what you're feeding your psyche. These are all really, really important things. And I think sometimes we get overwhelmed, we get on autopilot, and we tend to get stuck in ruts of habituation, and we think we're doing our best to stay conscious and aware and evolve, but it's really easy to slip into very comfortable patterns. So this is the Mercury Venus conjunction, and it's like we're looking at that, and this is a hard look, and the in conjunct with Chiron challenges us in some ways to be more, right, to figure out where we're not strong. Like me getting up in the morning and going walking. I know it sounds like a minor thing, but it's kind of a major thing. And today I took the hard route. I wanted to test myself today on the hard route. So I feel like Sagittarius, in terms of just seasonal energy, it's kind of like this spiritual supercharger here for us in the Northern Hemisphere in the dark part of the year. It's kind of like we get to hit this kind of this oasis in some ways of higher thought, higher meaning, and we get to recharge our spirits, and we get to recharge our souls. And when we practice charity and we practice generosity, that's all part of the season as well. And it makes us feel good, right? So these are all, I mean, it's all embedded here. I mean, yeah, it's philosophical, but it's all embedded here. And I think you got a bit of a plan of action. We could go a little bit longer today because I'm not doing 15 minutes for the rest of the week. I just feel like, the more that I think about this Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, the more that I find it troubling and puzzling. I think, I was reading an article last night about her district, the people she wrote. It's huge. Huge. I mean, she kind of represents a lot of these mountain people in Georgia. And a lot of those people were devastated by her resignation. And that's not something we often think about. Like if Chip Roy resigned, I'm not sure people would really care very much. But Marjorie Taylor Greene was so passionate and finally got the wake-up call. She finally got the wake-up call. She figured out that the system is set up in a way to defeat any individual who wants to come in and change it. That is ultimately her message. It is not a very uplifting message. That's my takeaway. And the other takeaway was that she felt betrayed, not only by Trump, but by the ideals of the party. And it was rarely do you see a Gemini do something like that, because they're always finding hacks and workarounds and things that allow them to be much more mutable and shape-shifty and make it easier for them to adapt, right? You don't often see that with Geminis. I mean, Trump is the ultimate Gemini with that Sun-Uranus conjunction. He's basically almost giving Mamjani a hand job while he's in the White House. But that's Trump, right? He can somehow manage to pull it off. That's a weird thing to say. He can somehow manage to pull it off. And it's because he has this kind of wild card effect about him. And I'm not always into it. I'm not always keen with it. But yeah. Yeah. I feel weird about it. I feel a little weird about her resigning. It just feels empty. And it doesn't feel like she has a plan. Right? It doesn't feel like she's ready to go to the next level and say, I want to be senator. I mean, to me, this is somebody who saw behind the curtain and they didn't like what they saw. And for Trump to call her a traitor, that's, and she's a tough girl, but I think that hurt her. And I know it's politics. That's one thing you figure out about people. Like, I was watching this interview yesterday from a long time ago. It was when Pat Buchanan was running for president. And this was against George H.W. Bush. He was in the primary. And Buchanan said a lot of really good things. And Bob Schieffer from CBS was interviewing him. And Buchanan and Schieffer were journalists together. Buchanan, I think, did turns on CBS, the Washington Hill Gang. And, they used to have those shows. And I'd watch them and what the fuck are these people talking about? And Schieffer turned on Pat Buchanan and tried to get him with some gotcha questions. And Buchanan dealt with it, played it off. I mean, he was really good. And at the end of the day, they both smiled and laughed. And Buchanan didn't take it personally because he understands that it's politics. It's like its own entity that once you step into it, right, you're allowed to flirt with sociopathology. But everybody knows that it's kind of an act and kind of a game. It's sort of an agreed upon sort of terms and conditions with certain people, right? And those are the people that I think thrive in that environment. They can get into a heated debate and a heated argument, and then 30 minutes later, they're in a pub in Georgetown, and they're sitting next to the guy that they had the heated debate and argument with, and they're throwing a few back, and they're patting each other on the back, and laughing and sharing. I mean, that's the world, and most people can't handle that. Most people would take it just so personal, like, oh, I'm betrayed. And I think she was never a politician, right? She was never a politician. She was like a gym owner and a trainer, and she got fed up. And I think a lot of it had to do with COVID, if I'm not mistaken. And I think she got sort of frozen out for a while, even though Brian Kemp was probably one of the better governors for COVID, I have to say. I think that sort of spurred her, and she was inspired by Trump. But she was never a politician. And there's a difference between being a politician and a political idealist. They're very, very different. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene was a political idealist. And then she got hit square between the third eye with the politician bullet. So I don't know what's going to happen to her, but it feels in some ways a little demoralizing, right? It feels like a little bit of a gut punch. And, I don't know if what she plans on doing, but I enjoyed her public persona. She was feisty. She was funny. I loved the cat fights with Jasmine, what's her name, in Dallas. Loved them. Right? Jasmine Crockett. Loved her cat fights with Laura Loomer. I mean, those were kind of fun. I'll miss that. She's a singular character. Anyway, let's get into our star of the day. Okay, a little banner here. All right. Our True Hemp Science star of the day is Joey Chestnut. Oh, that is, in some ways, that is the absolute symbol of American gluttony, the modern Rome, the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. All right, this is brought to you by True Hemp Science, your one-stop shop for all things CBD. You got a tough holiday ahead of you. You got some folks coming to town. Yank your chain a little bit. CBD is your friend. If you go there now, truehempscience.com, and you're a first-time buyer, you get a 20% off discount of anything you buy. Check out the gummies. They're your allies. They're your spiritual allies, those gummies. And the elixirs are great too if you use them on a frequent basis and bring them into your life. Right? Either way, it's very, very effective stuff. And Chris only uses the best organic hemp that he can in order to create the CBD. So all you got to do is go to truehempscience.com, type in 15MINS, and you will get the goodie bag on top of your order. And you'll also get free shipping if you spend $150 or more. truehempscience.com, your one-stop shop for all things CBD. All right. Joey Chestnut. All I got to do is point to one aspect on his chart. Just one. You know what it is? It's the Jupiter-Mercury conjunction in Sagittarius. I mean, come on now. Everybody's got a purpose in their chart. Everybody's got a life purpose. For Joey, it's his big fucking mouth and his massive appetite. Who'd have thought that his life purpose would be to become the most legendary ultimate eater of all time? With the Mercury-Jupiter conjunction, it is the bottomless pit. Give me more. To hell with Kazemi. I mean, that is really like, if you want to personify it, you want to personify a fucking ultimate eating champ, it's right there. That's what he does for a living. And he holds all these records, right? And he's got Moon in Leo, right? Trining Jupiter, trining. So he loves it. He's like a showman. And you would think that with all this sixth house stuff, it might wreak havoc with him. Who knows? Maybe one of these days he'll get stomach cancer with that south node in the sixth house, right? But he's also a Sun-Uranus conjunction person too. So he's kind of wild, right? Like Joey Chestnut is a force of ultimate eating. And I think one of the things that happened a couple of years ago is that he wound up getting a sponsorship from a different hot dog company. You don't do that. That's your Sun-Uranus conjunction. And Nathan's banned him for a year. The big 4th of July hot dog eating palooza. So he had to sit out that year. But he came back next year even hungrier to defend his title. And that's a Sun-Uranus conjunction. He's like, yeah, I'm going to give this ultimate eating thing a go. Right? And it's like sloppy sixth house. That sixth house doesn't get much sloppier than that. But I just keep coming back to the enormity of the mouth and that Mercury-Jupiter conjunction. He's got Pluto and Saturn in Scorpio. And he has a Pluto in conjunct with Chiron in Gemini. And his Chiron's at 0 degrees. What happened to this dude when he was born? Was he he's got this yod to Chiron. Was he a preemie or something? Right? Is this his way? Was he malnourished in the womb? I mean, I think it's quite possible. And I think there's other sides to Joey Chestnut. Don't get me wrong. He's just not somebody who can pound a Nathan's after Nathan's after Nathan's after Nathan's. He's got that true note in Gemini in the 12th house. There's another side to Joey. Maybe he's a spy. Wouldn't that be the shit? Like the ultimate eater who works for the CIA. Who would suspect that? Nobody. Would you suspect this guy as being a spy? I mean, think about it. You get to travel to all these ultimate eating events. I mean, Joey Chestnut would be the ultimate asset, if you're asking me. And he could probably, like, he could be like a human, carrier. You could probably put stuff in his stomach, right? And he could, you could pull it back out or something, at airports. Or, Joey Chestnut might be working for the CIA, and this is just cover. That would be an interesting movie script. An ultimate eater who's also an agent for the CIA. He's got Mars and Venus in Libra. They're not conjunct though. Joey don't have a lot of Earth. I mean, he's got Pallas. That's it. Now his 6th house is populated. So it's kind of an Earth house. Well, it is an Earth house. It's not kind of. But with all that fire, I wonder if Joey Chestnut has pets. If you're traveling, if I was his pet, I'd be afraid that he'd eat me. Like everything is on the table as an ultimate eating challenge. No, I just think he's going to be eating processed foods. But this is ultimate eaters travel a lot. But I would not be surprised. I know nothing about, I didn't read his Wikipedia. I know nothing about his, I'm just going cold off his chart. But this is somebody I think who would have an affinity towards animals and pets for sure. But he's a bit of a showman with that Moon, Mercury, Jupiter trine. Moon in the 3rd house in Leo. When the lights are on, Joey Chestnut, he shines. He's got Vesta on his ascendant in Gemini. I wonder if somebody influenced him. I wonder if ultimate eating runs in his family. Again, I haven't read his Wikipedia. Are there, like, there were the Wallendas, and you had the Carradines and the Barrymores. You have these acting families. I wonder if there's like ultimate eating families. Like it's just a tradition. Like did Joey's grandfather sit him down and say, boy, I'm going to show you how to eat some hot dogs. Step on over here. No, I don't think that happened. But he's kind of in what he's into for the long haul. Very interesting. Interesting chart. I mean, you can just see it. Right? And then when it's 4th of July, the sun is at like 18, Sagittarius, Gemini, Cancer. So right here, conjuncting Sirius, that's where the U.S. sun is. And that's when he's always doing his thing. And he's going to have a kind of a wide trine to Saturn during that time. 5th house is pleasure, pastimes. And he has an obsessive and intense pastime now, doesn't he? And the quest to be number one, that Plutonian obsession to be number one, comes through that 5th house. I bet she's a cool guy to talk to. I bet she's funny. I bet she has a really good sense of humor. you'd have to have a good sense of humor if you're an ultimate eater. Like, you just couldn't take yourself too fucking seriously. I mean, your life revolves around eating ungodly amounts of food as quickly as you can. Like, there's, I don't know, maybe he could write the Tao of ultimate eating. Although somehow I think that they're not wholly compatible. All right. That's all we got for today. There's Joey Chestnut, your True Hemp Science Star of the Day. We'll be back tomorrow, and I will have an extended Astro Weather tomorrow. And I'll be looking at tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So we're going to have 3 charts tomorrow. We'll get you up to speed and get you into the weekend. So hopefully that'll take care of some of your weekend astrological fix. We might run about 90 minutes tomorrow. It's it's Thanksgiving. And I want to say thank you for being here and for supporting the show. You can always hit like and subscribe. You can buy me a cup of coffee and keep your eye out for the new website coming soon. All right. Take care, everybody. Use your head in order to discern what's real, your heart to say what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. You are you, and bye for now.